Welcome to the Arrington Gavin Show. Real talk, big opinions, and fearless conversations. From the front lines of politics to the latest in pop culture. From breaking sports headlines to the stories that move the world. Nothing's off limits, and nobody's holding back. Arrington Gavin is here to break it down, build it up, and keep it all the way real. So turn it up, lean in, and let's get into it. This is the Arrington Gavin Show.
Hello. Welcome to the Arrington Gavin Show, your go-to spot for sharp insights, bold opinions, and unfiltered takes on the biggest stories of the day, whether it is politics, sports, pop culture, or the latest buzz. Look, we're diving deep and keeping it real, so please do me a favor, kick back, stay informed, and get ready to join the conversation, my friends. As always, thank you so much for taking 1 hour of your time to tune into the Arrington Gavin Show. I'm your host, your friend, Arrington Gavin, coming to you on this wonderful evening. Let me tell you something. Your boy is worn out. I went golfing with the bros earlier today, and when I tell you, I see, for those who tune into this program, look, we're heard across really across the world. We're not just heard in the state of Virginia. I say that because that's my home turf. That's my hometown where I reside, is Virginia. And when I tell you something about this Virginia heat is on 1,000. I could imagine how the weather feels in some of our other selected cities and states where you can tune into the Arrington Gavin Show, like our friends over in the New Orleans area by way of WBOK 1230 AM. I always got to shout them out. And then also you can hear us out in the Metro Atlanta area by way of WDJY 99.1 FM. I know Georgia heat. I know Louisiana heat it's a different type of hot. But when I tell you about Virginia, see, Virginia is weird because I was coming across folks who come from, hot states like Arizona, like a Nevada. They're like, oh, it's definitely hotter here in Virginia because you get that dry heat. And I'm like, excuse me, but 105 is 105, regardless of what state you in. 105 is 105. This week, y'all, has been nothing but in the hundreds. I think it's going to be getting even worse later on, but just hot. It's just hot. So of course we made sure we kept ourselves hydrated on beer and other strong adult beverages, which made it worse because I'm a sweater, and so I was sweating nonstop. But it was a good time though. It was a good time, good exercise. But like I mentioned, hot, and it's funny because my wife plays the parent role almost. She's like, "Come here, make sure you put your sunscreen on." And of course, she douses me with so much sunscreen, and by the time I get there, I got to put on another coat because when I tell you about this heat, as I mentioned earlier, the heat is different. It is different. It by the time I get out there, that sunscreen is long gone. So, lesson learned, folks. Please, not only should you be staying hydrated, please put sunscreen on. And that goes for black folks too. That whole myth that, well, black people don't get sunburn, we don't tan. Listen. It's for all skin types. Please cover yourself up with sunscreen. Bathe yourself in sunscreen. All right. Please, because it is going rampant out here. You don't want any form of skin cancer or anything worse than that. So please stay hydrated and put sunscreen on in this warm climate. Look, my friends, today we have some stories we're going to talk about. First thing we're going to start off with will be LeBron James, NBA. You can consider him an NBA legend, even though he's still actively playing. The man's career is legendary. He has announced that he will be entering into his 23rd year in the NBA. He just exercised his player option, 1-year player option. So he's looking forward to it. He's training, all that good stuff. But his wife, on the other hand, is like, I want him to retire. And so when I thought about that, all I could think of was Giselle, the model Giselle, ex-wife of Tom Brady, because they kind of had, and I'm not saying they have LeBron James and his wife is having a bad marital relationship. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying, hey, look, listen to your wife, because it can get to your head and you don't want your body to get, in worse damage than probably what it is currently. So we're going to talk about that. Also, we got some politics we're going to discuss. California governor has filed a lawsuit, or is gearing up to file a lawsuit against Fox News for a huge sum of money, but might I ask. So we're going to talk about that and so much more here on the Arrington Gavin Show. So again, my friends, thank you so much for taking your time to tune into the Arrington Gavin Show. For those who are watching us right now, streaming us, whether it's on YouTube, please like, subscribe. I truly appreciate it. Share with a friend, share with family. You can stream us on Rumble as well. You can also stream us on Goatverse TV, y'all. Goatverse TV. It's an amazing app. It is free. So look, I don't know about y'all, but the way these prices are looking nowadays, I love a good free 99 deal. So please download the app. It's available on the App Store, Google Play Store, Roku, as well as Amazon Fire TV. Is great content. You can tune to the Arrington Gavin Show. You can also tune in to other amazing programs. I want to shout out, by the way, my friends over at The Full Package. The Full Package is a singing songwriting competition show, and it is awesome. It's an opportunity to give independent artists, just for one, it builds up their their wealth of knowledge in the music genre industry, right? When it comes to longevity in the music industry, it's not just performing, but the behind the scenes, the writing piece, right? How many times have we heard folks who are writers all now of a sudden go into, okay, I want to be a stage performer, right? Neo start off as a writer. Chris Stapleton start off as a writer. Bruno Mars start off as a writer. We have this gentleman now, is it Leon Thomas? Writer. So it's a lot of knowledge when it comes to writing, but it's an amazing show. It's currently streaming right now on Goatverse TV. Again, the show is The Full Package. The Full Package is a singing songwriting competition. So I want to shout out them. I had the opportunity of serving as a backstage host for the program when I got to hear the stories of these amazing contestants. So it's dope. So please do so. Shout out to that program. You can also listen to us on a variety of podcast platforms. We're available on all major podcast platforms, so be sure, if you have not followed us on whether it's Spotify, Odyssey, Apple, iHeartRadio, please follow us on there. I truly appreciate it. And then I've already mentioned the radio airways where you can tune into us. So look, my friends, we have a lot in store for you. Before we get going, let's start it off with our fun fact of the day before we start discussing some of our headline stories. On today's fun fact, as I mentioned earlier about talking about LeBron James being a big piece of what we're going to discuss today, I thought getting a fun fact would be dope. So, did you all know that LeBron James is the only player in the NBA history to score 40,000 plus career points? And guess what? He's still active. As I mentioned, he just signed entering into his 23rd season in the NBA. Not only that, but he's the all-time leading scorer in both the NBA regular season and playoffs combined, a record that has stood for nearly 40 years before he broke it in 2023. Now, here's a quick bonus fun fact. He was also a highly recruited football player in high school and could have gone to the NFL as a wide receiver if he hadn't pursued basketball. Now, I'm happy he pursued basketball because, come on, we wouldn't have never witnessed King James, the basketball player. I do think that the career as an NFL wideout for LeBron James would not have been as successful because look at the competition, look at the impact on the body. We see how LeBron be whining and flopping all this stuff. Just imagine him playing football. I'm just saying. But hey, the dude is a world-class athlete. So shout out to King James. All right, my friends. Look, we're gonna take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll have more here on the Arrington Gavin Show. Don't go anywhere.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to
And we still in traffic.
I don't look familiar, do I? Not in this seat.
Hey, what's that you listening to?
Here to host today.
Hey, turn it up. Yeah, that's that new Goatverse app. I got you.
So y'all want to know where the goats are? They're off on the sidelines.
Looking for fresh, relevant content wherever you go? What was the name of that he said?
Introducing GOATverse TV.
GOATverse, that's what it's called.
The free streaming app that brings you the best podcasts, current events, and thought-provoking opinions all in one place. Download it now from the Apple Store or Play Store. In GOATs, we trust.
Become a man of distinction with Rugged Evolution Beard Care. Order our scented beard oils and beard balms to help you maintain and grow the perfect beard. Order today. Try our men's care products like the full body exfoliating cleansing bars, body wash, smooth stash, and more. Log on to our website or download our app to place your orders. Rugged Evolution Beard Care. We're your luxury but affordable men's care line. And remember,
rugged is the new smooth.
Let me tell you something most people get wrong about suits. A suit isn't just about you wearing it. It's how you show the world who you are. It's your handshake before you say a word, your presence when you step into any room. That's why we design statements at Dapper Luke. We don't just make suits. We'll start with the fabrics that tell your story, luxurious wools, silk, linen, and blends sourced from the finest mills in Italy, the UK, and India. Then we'll combine that with your vision, your personality, and your style. Every detail is tailored to you, from the fit to the finish. Whether for your wedding, a gala, the boardroom, we specialize in creating custom suits that are unique, just like the men who wear them. We spent years perfecting this craft, apprenticing under designers in New York and showcasing collections in New York and for Baltimore Fashion Week. None of that matters as much as seeing the look on your face when you try on your custom suit. Over 900 clients have already trusted us to deliver the best custom suits. They trust me to deliver the confidence. We proudly serve Virginia Beach and Baltimore and would be honored to bring your vision to life next. Let's create something unforgettable. Book your free consultation today at www.dapperluke.com.
All right, my friends, welcome back to the Arrington Gavin Show. I'm your guy, Arrington Gavin. Let's get it going with our first story. As I mentioned earlier, the one and only LeBron James, that's right, LeBron James has decided to exercise his $52.6 million player option to return to the Lakers for the 2025-2026 season. Which, as I mentioned earlier, that this will now have King James entering into his 23rd season. The person spoke to the Associated Press on conditions of anonymity because neither James nor the team announced a decision publicly. Now, James, who recently returned to on-court workouts after taking several weeks to recover after a spraining a knee ligament in the Lakers' final game of this past season's playoffs, says here that was obvious sign he planned on returning for the 23rd year, in which he'll break a tie with Vince Carter for the longest NBA career by a player. Now, it's different between Vince Carter and LeBron James because LeBron James is still very much a starter. He's very much a team captain. Vince Carter was more on the lines of, hey, look, I'm gonna keep getting this check. I can still play, but let me chill and stay on the bench. And then if they need me, okay, they need me. But for right now, I'm good right here. In addition, this is coming from James himself. He says, I have a lot of time to take care of my injury, my knee, the rest of my body, and make sure I'm as close to 100% as possible when training camp begins. If any doubt existed, even after that about James, the NBA's oldest current player, coming back for at least one more season, it's gone now. He had until they said recently to make a decision, or I think over the weekend, to make this decision on the option, one that pushes his career on court earnings to about $580 million. Wow. Can I just borrow 5? All I need is 5 million. This man said 580. Now that's not even including the money like he's making off the court. He's making a crap ton of money. He could literally buy a franchise if he wanted to solo. Now this coming season will be the first full year for Luka Doncic as a teammate. Doncic was traded to the Lakers from Dallas in this past February, but the team, which entered the postseason as the number 3 seed in loading Western Conference, still fell in the first round to Minnesota. Now, LeBron turns 41 in December, y'all. He turns 41 in December. He will be an all NBA pick in 21 of his 22 seasons in the league, including a second round nod this past season. No other player has more than 15 all NBA selections. Now, the past season, he averaged 24.4 points, 7.8 rebounds, and 8.2 assists in the which is spectacular for a man his age. The NBA's all-time scoring leader, as I mentioned earlier, appeared in 1,562 regular season games, 49 behind Robert Parrish marks of 1,611, the most in the league history. Now, if healthy, James would obviously figure to break the mark this season. Now, the big question, y'all, is does the Los Angeles Lakers, do they have a chance? Do they have a chance on winning? And another question is like, LeBron, you've made all the money. You have all the success. You have more than one championship. Why are you still wanting to pursue and play at your age, right? That's always a big question, right? Like, what's stopping you? Why are you still pursuing to play in the NBA, right? I'm actually curious. I would love to have on a friend to the show, Joe Smith, who I had the opportunity of interviewing not too long ago. He alone played 16 years in the NBA, which is still an amazing career, because there's some folks that, I mean, you might stop at 8, right? There's so many folks that 23 years is amazing. Now I'm looking at his squad. Dory Finney-Smith, shout out. He is a Hampton Roads native, spectacular player. You got Luka Doncic, another spectacular player, but do they have the pieces to become championship worthy? Can you win with a LeBron James at this point? I mean, it's iffy. It's iffy. Could we see a progression of his son, Bronny Smith? Bronny James. I don't know why I said Bronny Smith. Bronny James. Bronny James was, it received kind of some heat last season because they were looking at him as a nepo baby, right? He's not that good. He averaged like 5 points in college his first season, and all of a sudden he's drafted first? Was he drafted first round? First, maybe second. But it's just they a lot of folks wasn't buying, like, okay, is Bronny that guy, right? Obviously, Bronny will never be a LeBron James. Let's just nip that out of the bud. He will not be to his father's caliber. 2 different positions, 2 different sizes. Bronny 6'2", his dad is 6'9". His dad is a was he not a power forward, a shooting forward, and his son is a guard. And so it's just, it's iffy. His dad's 250, Bronny's 210, which 210 is not bad. Still, that's kind of above average in the NBA, but we will see. We will see. There was a clip or a comment from his wife, Savannah James, saying that she wants him to retire. She wants LeBron James to retire. He has absolutely nothing to prove. And I've mentioned earlier in the show, it almost reminds me of back when Tom Brady and Giselle was married. Giselle she wanted Tom Brady to retire. Now, in my opinion, it's much different situations. One, they actually were having marital problems. Tom Brady and Giselle, they were having marital problems because obviously they're divorced, so that leads to something. 2, football is a intense contact sport in comparison to in comparison to basketball. So I can understand, hey, look, you're 40 years old or 42 years old and you're over here playing high intensity contact sport, you could really, really hurt yourself. Now, worst case scenario for a LeBron is always going to be knee injuries, calf, Achilles, your legs. Your legs the primary thing in basketball. So, yeah, my friend. So LeBron James has entered into his 23rd year, and he is not stopping. Ain't no stopping us. He is not stopping, my friends. And so we will continue to follow up how the season will be for LeBron James, for his son, because obviously it will be shown, okay, how is Bronny going to do this year? We will see. Let me go ahead and digress from this story. Moving on to the next, we're going to stay in the sports realm and head over to football, preferably college, but I guess you can. Yes, it's really a college situation here. But let me go ahead and Let me go ahead and bring up this. Give me 1 second as I play this soundbite. This involves NFL head football coach Jim Harbaugh. Apparently, there was an issue that occurred during his years at Michigan, because he was is the former head football coach for the University of Michigan. Let me go ahead and play this for you. We'll talk on the other side.
New development in the alleged hacking of student athletes' personal information by a former University of Michigan assistant football coach. Former Michigan head coach Jim Harbaugh, now also named in this class action suit. ABC's Melissa Don joins us with more on this. Melissa, good morning. Break this down for us.
Good morning, Rhiannon. So several female college athletes are part of this class action lawsuit against former University of Michigan assistant football coach Matthew Weiss. Well, now the suit is naming football coach Jim Harbaugh and other Michigan officials.
This morning, new details into a bombshell allegation just ahead of the NFL preseason. Former Michigan Wolverines head coach Jim Harbaugh, who is now head coach of the Los Angeles Chargers, named as a defendant in a class action lawsuit brought by several female athletes against the University of Michigan and others. The lawsuit alleges Harbaugh and other top school officials learned just before a major playoff game in 2022 that assistant football coach Matthew Weiss was allegedly accessing female students' personal information, including their intimate photos. The plaintiffs say Harbaugh and the officials did nothing, accusing Harbaugh of failing and refusing to implement basic security measures that would have stopped Weiss. Back in March, Harbaugh said he was completely shocked by the allegations against Weiss, adding he did not hear about them until after Weiss coached his final game in 2022. Weiss is charged with identity theft and unauthorized computer access, accused of hacking into the databases of more than 100 colleges, allegedly targeting female athletes. Some didn't even attend the University of Michigan, according to the indictment. The attorney for the plaintiffs say by naming Harbaugh and other Michigan officials, leadership at the highest levels either knew of these threats or deliberately ignored them, prioritizing athletic prestige.
Now, Matthew Weiss has pleaded not guilty to the federal criminal charges. We've reached out to Weiss, Jim Harbaugh, the University of Michigan, and the LA Chargers for comment, and they have not responded. Janae?
All right, we'll continue watching that.
So, y'all, that's not a good look. That is not a good look for Jim Harbaugh. For one, who is the leader of the staff when this is going on? Jim Harbaugh. Now, he's no longer with Michigan or at Michigan. He's in the NFL. But again, this was under his watch, hence why his name is on the list. Now, first of all, what a disgusting act for this gentleman to have allegedly hack personal, intimate photos, videos of these collegiate athletes. It almost the story, different actions, but it reminds me of back in the day when you had the Sandusky case. The late Joe Paterno, who was the longtime coach for for Penn State. A lot of stuff happened under his watch, and during the heat of that time, I think he ended up passing when it was still ongoing, and it was sad at the time because he was very much pushing towards retirement. Matter of fact, I pulled it up right here. Okay, so Paterno was the coach for the Penn State Nittany Lions from 1966 to 2011. And his career ended with his dismissal from the team as a result of the Penn State child sex abuse scandal. He died 74 days later from complications from lung cancer. Obviously, the pressure, his age, he ended up passing, I believe, at 85 years old. But it was a lot. Now, now going back to Jim Harbaugh's case, someone had to know. Someone had to say you have to have full ownership of your staff. For one, this is a massive, massive issue here. Now, obviously, he has shared no comments, but Weiss, the alleged suspect, was placed on administrative leave 2 weeks after the Fiesta Bowl, which Michigan lost, and was fired days after that. He was formally charged. He was formally charged with a crime in March earlier this year on 14 counts of unauthorized access to computers and 10 counts of aggravated identity theft. He faces a maximum of 5 years in prison for each unauthorized access charge and 2 years for each identity theft charge. Now, this adds up to about 90 years if found guilty in prison. Weiss pleaded not guilty and is awaiting trial in November. Now, the Justice Department says or claims Weiss used personal data, as you heard in the statement there, from a student athlete database to obtain access to social media, email, and or cloud storage accounts of more than 2,000 athletes. And like you have heard in the statement there, some athletes weren't even members of the university. Like, geez Louise. More than 2,000 athletes and more than 1,300 additional students or graduates. From there, he allegedly downloaded intimate photos and videos that were never meant to see the light of day. Harbaugh left Michigan to coach the Los Angeles Chargers last year under a different cloud of allegations from the NCAA. After the charges were filed, he described the allegations shocking and called it disturbing situation. He said he felt really bad for not just the alleged victims, but for also Weiss' wife and children. From 2011 to 2022, Weiss worked for either Harbaugh or his brother John, and the head coach of who's the head coach of the Baltimore Ravens after playing at Vanderbilt as a punter. So this guy has had a position in the league for a good amount of time, and he was hired under the Harbaugh brothers. So I'm wondering if they're going to even include I mean, this occurred under Jim's watch, but it still makes a bad look for his brother, in my opinion. In what is, let's see here. It was in 2015 during his time with the Ravens that his hacking allegations started. See. So apparently this happened when he was with the Baltimore Ravens. So my question would be is Jim's brother eventually going to be, brought to papers, right? Weiss jumped from Baltimore to Michigan in 2021 to become the Wolverines quarterback coach and was promoted to co-offensive coordinator after one season. Y'all, I mean, it's oof. What's your take on this? Should there be charges brought against the Los Angeles Chargers coach? If so, what would they be? Should he be held accountable? Do you think they knew? That's the biggest question. Do you think they knew and tried to cover this up? Because if they're saying this happened in 2015, that's a long time ago. What's your take on it, my friends? What's your take? Hey, do me a favor. Share me your thoughts. You can email me at info@theagshow.com. Visit our website, by the way. I forgot to mention that. Visit our website, www.theagshow.com. Do that today. I truly appreciate it. Let's see here. Yeah, check out that awesome website, by the way. It's dope. It's dope. I am a fan. My ass. I am a fan. Let's see here. Coming up half past the first uh 30 minutes. Yeah, we're halfway mark. So look, let me go ahead on and I'm gonna bring up this story before we head to a commercial break. I don't know if y'all ever heard of the artist Big Freedia. Have you ever heard of the artist Big Freedia? Let me pull up an image for you for those who are streaming us right now. But she is a entertainer. What's another way I can describe uh Big Freedia? She is a big woman, by the way. She is mighty tall, mighty tall. Let me go ahead and. She's an American rapper. She is a singer performer known for her work in the New Orleans genre of hip hop called bounce music. Freedia has been credited with helping popularize the genre, which has been largely underground since developing in the early 1990s. All right. So Big Freedia is coming out with a gospel album. She is coming out with a gospel album. Big Freedia uh started her career. Let's see, 1998, a young drag queen by the name of. Trying to see when she's 47 years old. I'm trying to see when did her uh born as Freddie Ross in New Orleans, Louisiana. As a child, took piano lessons and sang in the choir in a Baptist church. She idolized folks like a Patti LaBelle, disco singer Sylvester, Michael Jackson, as well as Salt and Pepper. So just to give you a genre, she has collaborated with artists like Beyonce, um, Kesha, Lizzo, RuPaul, New Kids on the Block, Jordan Sparks, just name a few. Naughty by Nature, Boyz II Men, and with Drake. So she has a credible resume. But check this out. So after losing her partner of almost 2 decades, Big Freedia says her gospel album means more than ever. This is an article reported by Billboard. And the reason why I'm talking with this is more to the story why I want to. But let me just read a little bit more of this and I'll explain why I brought the story up. So at first blush, the mere idea of Big Freedia's gospel album sounds like musical Mad Libs. After all, Freedia is the queen of New Orleans bounce music and ass shaking, party starting hip hop dynamo, saved for Sodom and Gomorrah. There's not a ton of booty popping in the Bible. Absolutely right. But like many LGBTQ plus artists, black artists raised in the American South, Freedia's musical awakening was more than perishable. Growing up in the Black Baptist Church here in the New Orleans, especially, a lot of gay individuals are involved. The 47-year-old tells Billboard from her colorful uh, Feston New Orleans home, where she hunkered down as a rainstorm approaches. Quotes, I started singing when I was a little kid. I was the choir director at my high school. I'm taking it back to my roots. She pauses for a half beat. It's been on my heart heavy to do a gospel project. We're living in some crazy times. Now, let's see here. After some 15 years as a bounce music standard barrier, during where she starred in her own reality series, Big Freedia's Queen of Bounce, on the cable channel Fuse from 2013 to 2017, and then collaborated, as I mentioned, with so many popular artists that I mentioned: Beyonce, Drake, Kesha, and so she goes on again to pursue this album because it's bringing back her roots. Now, the reason why I brought this story up specifically, not just giving Big Freedia some a shout out, who I would love to bring on the show, but also a while back I was talking about the gospel singer Deisha Cadding, saying that gospel music, the genre, needs to go has to be rebranded, has to go over a huge remake and makeup, because he had an issue with Glorilla winning a gospel album at the recent BET Awards. Now, you have someone who is a LGBTQ plus icon, a drag queen, in Big Freedia, who is pursuing to to produce and to put out a gospel album. Now, if that album hits big, are we going to hear some more hell from the current gospel artists that have been set in stone forever? Now, some folks can say, well, look, it's a good concept to branch mainstream artists into the gospel genre, because it will get more young folks to really really explore the gospel genre. Because at the end of the day, majority of secular artists were started in the church. R&B, pop, country, you name it, rap. They all were either raised in the church, started in the church. A lot of them get their musical talent, right? Or the when they first started playing the instrument in the church choirs, the playing the piano, playing this, playing that. Like their roots is gospel music. So in my case, I think it's good. I think it's popular. I think it's great. I think it's, I think sometimes the church can be looked upon as not as accepting to folks. In my opinion, they should, because here's the thing: you have so many folks, down on their luck, need some guidance, need some healing, need some advice, and sometimes back in the day, churches kept their doors open. If you ever look at old school, like movies like The Color Purple, or some old Baptist church in the cut in the country, guess what? They had their doors open during service. Why? Because doors are always open for folks. Now we're living in a different time now, because you have a lot of folks that use the church as a business more than the true meaning, in my opinion. But you open those doors for all the time, and then you have you have even Big Freedia mentioned it, um comedians have made jokes saying that, hey, look, them choir directors, they ain't fooling me. You know what I mean? And I'll use your imagination and, yeah, what I'm saying there. But I just think that, um I think it's gonna bring up a bigger discussion. I think it's gonna bring some more debates with Freedia coming out with a gospel album. Again, I don't see issue to it. The fact that you had a Kanye West put out a gospel album. You had Snoop Dogg put out a gospel album. R&B singers have done it before. It may be because R&B singers are a little more harmless than hip hop artists. But Fantasia's went gospel. Patti LaBelle went gospel. Shaka Khan. They cross over all the time. So I think Dietrich Haddon was just feeling himself. He was just he was drunk on some haterade because he ain't winning. He's a show off guy, in my opinion. But I think he was just disappointed because he thought that project was really worth something and all that jazz. But yeah, I think this album. Let's see. The album is called Pressing Onward. It's supposed to be coming out August 8th. It is named after the New Orleans Baptist Church Freedia was raised in. The 14 tracks include guest spots by Billy Porter, another openly gay actor, very talented, by the way, very soulful, very church voice. The song that he's featured on is The Holy Shuffle, and Tamar Braxton's Sunday's Best, both of whom also grew up in the church, with Freedia's hand-picked choir of local gospel singers led by Josh Calger elevating each song. This is going to be a dope project, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm curious to listen to it, because it's funny, I was just having a conversation. This has been a conversation probably in all circles, whether if it's friends, family, the whole back and forth of, hey, was Beyonce really was she really gospel? Would you consider her, I mean, not gospel, country? Would you consider Beyonce a country artist now, or that album a true country album? I mean, we had the back and forth kind of thing. So it's interesting. It's interesting, my friends. Look, we're going to take a commercial break. I'm going to take a quick breather. Look, don't go anywhere, my friends. We have a lot more show for you here on the Arrington Gavin Show. We'll be right back.
Jazaren Learning Institute, LLC, is a hybrid learning center that strives to educate adults and children in all fields. During the day, we offer programs that are focused on developing students from pre-K to 12th grade, which includes tutoring, homeschool co-op, an after-school program, SAT, ACT prep, and many more engaging academic programs. Our adult education programs include workforce trainings, GED prep, life coaching, various seminars, and many more. Our vision is to train and educate in a positive way that will lead to a positive change in the world, one person at a time. For more information, visit us online at JazarenLearningInstitute.com or call us at 757-208-7407.
Order your beard care products with Rugged Evolution. We're your local beard care line that supports the maintenance of your full, mature beard. Our line includes conditioning shampoos, moisturizers, balms, oils, shaving lotions, and exfoliating soaps. These products moisturize, hydrate, nourish, and have all the natural ingredients for a healthy beard. Log on to our website or download our app to place your orders. Become a man of distinction with Rugged Evolution Beard Care. And remember,
Rugged is the new smooth.
Every man has a story to tell. Your ambitions, your achievements, your legacy. Your suit should reflect that story, crafted precisely, designed for impact, and tailored exclusively for you. We work with only the finest fabrics, luxurious wools, silk, linen, and blends from world-renowned mills in Italy, the UK, and India. These fabrics are the foundation of custom suits that exude elegance and stand the test of time. But a suit isn't just about fabric, it's about fit and it's about confidence, and it all starts with you. When you work with me, you'll receive a personalized consultation, whether in person or over Zoom. Together we'll explore your vision and discuss your needs. And we're gonna bring your ideas to life. My journey as a designer includes apprenticing under New York-based designer Clavon Leonard, showcasing collections at New York Fashion Week, Algeria Fashion Week, and the prestigious Baltimore Met Gala. That experience is what we bring to every suit we create, from weddings to corporate events and everything in between. We specialize in crafting one-of-a-kind suits for life's most significant moments. Dapper Luke has been recognized as one of Baltimore's best menswear in 2023, and I was honored to be one of the 10 designers selected for the prestigious Baltimore Met Gala. With over 900 satisfied clients, we proudly serve Virginia Beach and Baltimore, bringing world-class designs to these incredible communities. We don't just make suits, we craft confidence. Your suit will fit your body, your style, and it will tell your story. Book your free online personal consultation today. Visit www.dapperluke.com.
All right, my friends, welcome back to the show. Welcome back. Let's talk some politics. I'm looking at my time here. Let's talk a little politics. So recently shared that longtime senator, longtime Senator Thom Tillis announced, Republican senator, by the way, announced that he was retiring from Senate after his clash with Trump. Let me go ahead and play the soundbite for you, and we'll talk on the other side. Let me go ahead and bring up that soundbite for you all.
We are getting word directly from the man himself, Senator Thom Tillis, of course, a Republican of North Carolina, says he will not be running for re-election. Here is the statement that he has put out, quote, "As many of my colleagues have noticed over the last year, and at times even joked about, I haven't exactly been excited about running for another term. That is true since the choices between spending another 6 years navigating the political theater and partisan gridlock in Washington, or spending that time with the love of my life, Susan, our 2 children, 3 beautiful grandchildren, and the rest of our extended family back home. It is not a hard choice, and I will not be seeking re-election."
The context of this, Alex, is hard to miss, because this comes one day after he announced that he's not supporting President Trump's so-called one big beautiful bill. His opposition came as a little bit of a surprise because he had always been on the board. He's on the finance committee that was drafting this major piece of legislation, but he said the Medicaid cuts simply go too far for his state of North Carolina. Tillis had always tried to balance the need to appeal to the conservative base, to the Trump base, the MAGA base, whatever you want to call it, with being seen as somewhat of a moderate, someone who swing voters, someone who independents can trust and can support to not be completely partisan. So that's his vision. That is his outlook. And it's a big deal, a huge deal for the Senate, given that he is now a free agent to vote as he pleases.
We are getting.
So, boom, you heard it right there. Thom Tillis, longtime Republican Senator Thom Tillis has announced that he will not seek a reelection. Now, Thom Tillis, 64 years old, so good solid age, right? You put in plenty of years. You still can, enjoy your retirement, enjoy your family. That's a perfect age. So I want to thank you, Senator, for doing what's right. A lot of the reason people are assuming why he's doing it is because he can't stand Trump. I mean, if you haven't caught on, it is tough being a Republican elected official in this current day and age, whether if you're in Washington or either in your selected states. It's tough being a Republican, all right, and a Republican elected official. So like Thom Tillis had mentioned, that big beautiful bill, cuts on Medicaid, he has a lot of constituents in the state of North Carolina that stuff that helps, right? Cutting food stamps, all of these cuts to what? To add more money to military, to add more money to put in wealthier individuals' pockets, because hey, look, those cuts mean lesser a tax decrease, right? So you're putting more money into wealthy individuals. I think it's all a bunch of BS, as I've spoken many of times, but I just want to kind of backtrack how long Tillis has been in office. Says here he was let's see, he started off as a Speaker of North Carolina House Representatives from 2011 to 2015. He then was elected in 2015 to the state Senate. Now, I'm happy to see somebody like this gentleman who says, hey, look, not going to seek a third term. Yet we have folks that's trying to seek a 19th term. I'm not going to get that out of my head, because it's like, your time has come. You put in what you had to do, but please start building up, start following, start catching eyes on the next person that can be a replacement. As you mentioned, he has been seen as a moderate Republican, a bipartisan kind of guy. But for him not seeking a reelection in the state Senate makes it obviously harder for those Senate Republicans, because he was one of the two Republicans to recently vote against the big beautiful bill's plans. Again, deep cuts on Medicaid is the primary reason why he voted against it. But again, he's like, hey, look, I don't think I can last another time in this in office with this guy in in the helm at the White House. Says here that Tillis gave a shout out to former Senators Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema, both Democrats turn independent elected officials. Well, at least Kristen Sinema did. And then Joe Manchin, he retired, but he ended up leaving the Democratic Party as well, for their unwillingness to not cave to their party's bosses, to nuke the filibuster for the sake of political expediency. I too will agree with that, right? Because at the end of the day, y'all, if you are an elected official, you should not have to worry about doing what's right for your who's in charge and who's telling you, hey, this is going to help us, the Democratic Party as a whole, but is it going to benefit your constituents? At the end of the day, you're a servant to your people, not to the Democratic Party. Yes, you might hold that those values, and majority of the time you are going to vote with your party because it might satisfy, it might help take care of your overall base. But at the end of the day, you should not have to be scared and just be cornered and say, well, I'll do it to them and just move it on. Because how many times have we caught the right, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Ted Cruz, you ask them a question about such and such and they don't know jack squat. Why? Because they're just yes people. They're like, oh, just do. That's how there's a good number of folks in office that are like that. I think they stay in office forever. Some people, it's all a part of the game. It's all a part of the game, my friends. If you want to keep your seat safe, if you want to stay, if you want to have a lot of endorsements to seek a reelection, guess what? You got to be a yes person. You got to be a yes person. See, if you're not, you turn out to like a John Fetterman, or as he mentioned, Thom Tillis mentioned, a Joe Manchin or Kristen Sinema. Who else can I think of at the moment? Well, I mean, you see the disconnect between progressives and moderates within the parties. So that's what will happen, my friend. That's what will happen. We're seeing it now as an example, with the New York City mayor race, because hey, look, Zoran Mamdani won fair and square in the Democratic primary. At the time, Andrew Cuomo conceded the race. Now all of a sudden he's running it on the independent ballot along with Eric Adams, who's a former Democrat but now running as an independent, who's getting more praise now from Fox News and the right than you could imagine. Why? Because let's be honest, the right really doesn't care about Curtis Silva as a primary candidate. Yeah, he's a popular voice on talk radio, but he's no mayor. They're not going to love him enough to be a mayor. They love him enough to just hold that position in talk radio. That's what we need you for, sir. We don't need you as an elected official, even though they've nominated him and he is good. He's probably, he's a premier candidate because he's not like the typical traditional Republican guy, if that makes sense of how I'm explaining it. But they just they're like, okay, if we can switch Adams, hey, he's a brother. That's always a good look, right? Having a black man, that's leading a conservative movement. You see it with Byron Donald. You see it with Tim Scott. Who else do we see that's I mean, you have a lot of black conservatives that they put in the forefront because helps with votes and stuff. But yeah. Let's see. The senator has been sorely missing. Yeah, so it is we're continue to see more and more folks not seeking reelection, and this happened on both sides of the party. So we will we will see how further this impacts the overall Republican Party come November. Let's see here. How am I looking at my time? Let me go moving on to our next story. I have like a little bit of time left. Well, I'm gonna pause the Gavin Newsom case. I'll talk a little bit about that later on. But let me go ahead and move to this So let me just share this. I'm not gonna share the clip, but I'm at least share the image for those who are watching us, and I'll explain the story. So this video went viral on social media because it shows a man giving his barber flowers, a bouquet of flowers, to work after he had lost his mother, after his barber lost his mom. And so many folks are like, ugh, what's a man giving another man some flowers for? That's just weird. That's just weird. I'm over here looking. I got my dog near me and I'm making sure that he's not doing something he shouldn't be doing. But yeah, it goes back to this toxic masculinity, right? I'm a big advocate of speaking against toxic masculinity. Like, you're not a man if you don't do this. You're not a true man if you don't do that, and X, Y, and Z. That's bull. That is bull, and that's right there is why you see so many folks. That leads to mental health. It leads to it leads to guys not feeling accepted, right? Lack of self-confidence. Saying, well, if I don't do this, am I really a man? And then it's like, am I going to be accepted in this circle, that circle? And it's insane. Look, there's a lot of folks sharing their thoughts on it. And those are folks that don't have a life. Those are folks that don't have a freaking job. Those are folks that probably credit is down the crapper. Those are folks that don't have any friends. People on social media, especially those who comments the most, they don't have a life. So please ignore them. I love what I just saw. What I saw was two men embrace each other. What he gave his barber flowers to say, hey, look, man, keeping you in my prayers. It's a strong thing that you're going through right now. So here's some flowers. I hope you can put that towards your mother's grave. I mean, like, come on, y'all, chill. Because we live in a society where it's like men, specifically black men, you can't even cry in public. You can't even show your emotions without being dogged on, joked on, looked as a lack of a man. I mean, that blows my stack to the core. Because what is, to my knowledge, what is a real man to you guys? What is a real man? What is a real man own guns? Does a real man squat or bench press a certain amount of weight? Does a real man play sports? Does a real man change that? Like, what I'm curious. I'm curious on, to your term, what is a real man? A man's man. Because let's be honest, that's the whole reason why you have a Trump in the White House. Ooh, I said it. Because a good number of his base are the bro types, right? He's bringing manhood back into, yeah. Y'all, come on. Y'all were the ones that weren't accepted. He ain't even the man's man. Like, y'all were the ones that was like, you thought it's makes you tough. Because look, why is it that it's so many folks that, okay, I know a guy that every time he does something, he's trying to top somebody else's stuff. Like, oh man, I'll say, look, I went golfing. Yeah, I hit like about a 300 yard or 400 yard one. That's an ease. That's good. Or, dude, I like benching. I bench more. Like, why are you trying to always top people? Like, it's not competition. Chill. Like, I think maybe as a kid he was never like was picked on or something. I don't know. But it blows my mind when I come across folks like that. Like, yeah, I had one of those stress balls and I popped that thing because I just it like in 5 seconds. Yeah. Like, calm down, dude. Like, what do you who are you in competition with? Like, you don't get a trophy. But we live in a society where excuse me. We live in a society where men cannot show their true feelings, and hey, that's can lead to other things. And I don't know about y'all, but I got nothing to hide. I show my emotions with not feeling embarrassed whatsoever, nor because guess what? I kind of don't give a F what folks thinks. Sorry, that's just me. That is just me. And so my thing to you all, men who are tuning in this program, is if you got a brother that's down, man, don't worry about what other people think. You do what's right. This barber parent had passed and his client brought him a bouquet of flowers. Y'all should take some notes from the client, in my opinion. Oh my gosh. Well, look, my friends, that is my time. As always, I always enjoy having the time to talk with you all, the listeners, the viewers out there. Be sure to tune into the Arrington Gavin Show weeknights, available on all digital streaming platforms as well as on the radio airwaves. Peace and blessings, y'all. I will talk to y'all soon. I'm out.
That's it for tonight on the Arrington Gavin Gavin Show. Thanks for tapping in and keeping the conversation alive. Don't forget, stay connected with us on all platforms. Follow at Arrington Gavin on Instagram, Blue Sky, and X, and subscribe to the official Substack for exclusive takes and deep dives you won't get anywhere else. We're here every weeknight, same time, same energy, same real talk. Until next time, stay bold, stay sharp, and stay true. That's what we do on the Arrington Gavin Show. Peace.